Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, it's an absolute honor to welcome Fran, a business powerhouse who is also the founder of Verolead Biz Solutions, helping leaders across the US and Europe stabilize cash flow, boost profits, and build businesses that truly last. This is really important. I'm excited to hear what she has to say about that. So in this episode, I hope to dive into her journey from corporate leadership to building her own empire and uncover how to create success without sacrificing our sanity, which I think is super important at this time, especially when we're building our own businesses. So without further ado, there's so much more to her, but I would love her to elaborate and share her story in her own words. Welcome, Fran.
Thank you so much, Shel. It's a real pleasure to be with you. I'm just delighted to be in this space and have a chance to perhaps share some insights that your audience can benefit from.
Oh, well, I already know you'll absolutely will. Like, we're already going to tick that one off. That's done. Sometimes, though, what I always find, because I think, often as we do, which is such a beautiful thing as business leaders and, building our own businesses, we kind of find that sometimes it's, the same questions, the same article, the same. So I think sometimes, even though absolutely we want to celebrate you and all you are doing for so many people, which is incredible, by the way, that let's go back to your own personal journey, your own personal journey of transformation, and where these this seed of inspiration and how it all began. Because I think it's always nice to see the before and then the after.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start at the point that I decided that I wanted to pursue building my own business.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were speaking, what came to mind, this whole idea of having an external view. I had more than 30 years in corporate environments. And so we spent quite a lot of time talking about outside in so that our strategies would be more aligned with the markets we were in. So that concept just, I don't know for what reason, it just bubbled up as we were talking. But how it fits with what I'm going to talk about in terms of my journey is until I got an external perspective on my life, I was in the stew of being in the corporate environment, doing it the corporate way, being challenged to climb the ladder or not, all of the things that so many of us have started from. There's a lot of people who have been entrepreneurs their entire lives, and I'm a little jealous about that because they just have it, from the foundation up. But so many people start late. They come to an awareness, and that's what happened to me. Actually, started in 2011. I had just come to Europe in 2009 on an assignment. As head of HR for the corporation I was a part of. And I'd been here 2 years in Switzerland. I liked the environment, the lifestyle. And this was my second assignment in Europe. And so I had developed an appreciation of the idea of working to live rather than living to work.
Beautiful.
But it had not quite settled in my spirit, if you will,
Yeah.
that
It's a
what that
nice
meant.
idea.
That's
How?
right. Nice idea, because when I finished the first assignment, I went back to the States. I had a global role in manufacturing, and it was all the time zones, and it was a culture in the company where you stay connected to the
Yeah.
businesses wherever they were. So yeah, I had a huge demands on my personal time and life,
Mm.
etc. So I come to Europe. I come back to Switzerland 2009. I've been here a couple of years. I liked the environment. I had not hit the famous expat wall when you just say, "I'm going back." It doesn't matter. And so I'm having this conversation with one of my senior leaders in the U.S., and we were talking about my next assignment. And to be totally transparent, that's when I began to realize that my road ahead in terms of the next role, the next growth, was not clear.
Mm.
And in fact, being in human resources and understanding things like succession planning and how organizations evolve, I could really see that there was going to be a divergence
Mm.
in my path from what I expected when I came to Europe. So almost like in a moment, I mean, I'm standing in his office, and we're talking, and it just came over me
Wow.
to say, well, you know, perhaps I'll just leave under the company retirement. And I kind of left it like that, right?
And I bet that kind
Uh,
of came out, and then you went,
yeah,
"Ah, what just
that's
happened?
right.
Oh, that
It was
wasn't
like an
me."
awakening. It was like it was something else inside of
Yeah.
me
Your
speaking.
spirit.
And so it just came out. I said, well, maybe I want to take a different route. Maybe I'll just stay until I retire, et cetera, et cetera. So this is like now 2011, 2 years. And so I'm rolling with that idea,
Yeah.
okay, that I'm not necessarily going to go back to a bigger role. I'm not feeling really excited about getting into that mix of, okay, well, we're not sure where you're going to go here, go there, and then ultimately you end up leaving the organization.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was armed with that awareness. So what are you going to do with it? So I actually go another 2 years.
Oh, wow. Mm.
Basically content that until they decided what was next, they'll let me know. As my nature is, things kind of roll around in my head for a while, and I'm putting pieces together. So 2013, I go to my favorite spa in California, and for a 2 week stay, I mean, I am like exhausted.
Yeah.
And when I say exhausted, I remember as I flew to California and I got over the desert, I immediately started to detox.
Mm.
Okay. And then when I landed and I actually got to the spa, I literally for the first 3 days spent that time having the therapist that to work out the kinks in my body.
Mm.
I literally was seized up in my
Yeah.
back and my shoulders. I was just so incredibly stressed. And so I was sitting in my room, and I happened to have brought the book Rich Dad Poor Dad with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was laying in bed reading the book, and it just dawned on me that I was so overly invested
Mm.
in other people's dreams. I was of the mindset when you work for an organization, you showed your dedication, your
Yeah.
commitment. Coming out of the United States, we're owned in the corporate environments. You're just owned when you get to
Mm.
certain levels of responsibility. So I was always owned, and I wasn't always good at it. I'll be honest about it. I wasn't always good at it because you get to a point that perfection is so elusive. You can't be perfect, and
Yeah.
you have to develop certain capabilities to navigate those flat times or those flat sides. And so there I was sitting in this room, and reading this book and realizing, wow, what am I investing my life in? What
Mm.
dreams do I have? And
Wow.
and what I did is, and I said, you know what? I have to change this. And immediately, I mean, like in the next hour, I went online um, and actually registered my LLC. So here this is all set up, everything is paid. I'm just waiting for the docs to come.
Yeah.
I come back to
Why hasn't that
Switzerland.
happened yet? I did everything.
Yeah. So I come back to Switzerland. I'm all relaxed, all detoxed, all cleansed. My boss is saying you're looking great.
You're like,
And
yeah, I know.
and actually what they were seeing was this
Yeah.
shift in my
Yeah.
brain, right? And so I finally got the documents, but do you know, it was still another almost another 7 years before
Wow.
it came to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is and some people will find it. Some people say they make the shift, they come back, they either get themselves financially positioned to leave
Yeah.
immediately, or they are working the business and they leave. But I was just like a slow cooker in years rather than hours. Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you because I'm loving you just expressing, but I think we should really like just pause for a moment in what you're saying because I think you've just shared something really important that one, it doesn't always come straight away, and two, we're not always ready, and that's okay. And you're going to hear this incredible woman's, this is why I love to start there because that you've just shared all of this, and there's some people now that could be like 7 years and this and this, and it's like, but wait, listen, here it comes, and I really thank you so much. So I just really wanted to celebrate you for that.
Well, I appreciate it because there have been times that I said, 7 years, where could I have been if I started 7 years ago? But the reality is I wasn't ready. I had a long history in the safety of working for an organization. And I don't care what anybody says, whether you have people depending on you or not, safety means something.
Absolutely.
And
I can relate
it
to you
means different
100%.
things,
Yeah.
but safety means, so I only had myself. And I figured I could figure out how to feed myself and take care of me, but
Mm,
nonetheless safety meant something.
yeah.
And I'm sure that was one of the reasons why I was on this slow burn. But when 2020 hit, COVID hit, and I was working now for a new organization, and our volumes dropped like 65% in 48 hours. I could see the handwriting on the wall. I knew I was not going to survive that in the
Mm,
current organization. And so basically I said, now's the time. I'm already positioned. I don't have to think about, do I want to
wow.
do a business? I know that's what I need to do. And one of the things I would say about that, Shell, is that, and to your point, there is readiness, but there's also this idea that while you are moving forward, the universe is moving even faster and positioning
Yes.
you for success.
Yeah.
Because when I reached the point I was saying, now is the time, I already had in place the infrastructure, the basic infrastructure
Yeah.
to make it real.
And
And
that's the thing,
that's
we
what
can't,
happened.
it's not like this at the start. It's like even the whole, sorry, like just to add to what you said,
Sure.
but just on a really like another level of like, even then when we, because of course when we start our own businesses as well, it's a lot of, it seems like our time and our energy, and it's like, but how am I gonna eat? How am I gonna do this? And internally, this is like not sending out, even if we do the affirmations, we do the whatever, read the books, but it's like, I'm hungry.
That's
Where am I going
right.
to live? And it's
That's
just
right.
like,
That's right.
sometimes it's like, just, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you've got to align. And sometimes, like what you said, some people could just have that unwavering faith and be ready and like, whatever. Some of us, we need to mother ourselves a little bit. And, it takes time.
Yeah.
And even then, when say you do receive what you're wanting to receive, internally again, because it's so different to say exchanging your time and energy for money or whatever the package is, it's then like, oh, okay, yay, but can I take that? Should I take that? Because I've just created that myself. There's still like energetically, if we want to call that, not all woo woo, but we have to get our internal nervous system ready as well. So sometimes I feel like when we aren't getting that money or whatever, that's preparing us to say, at say whatever point we've got to where we've done it this many times now, enough now, I want some, I deserve, I understand me and my value. And then that's when the signal really goes out, because it's like, no, I've done this many times now, I know my value, my worth, bring the money. Oh, that came quick.
Right.
Because you're
Exactly.
ready.
Exactly. And when it happens, it happens.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
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 then it's
and
like abundance. It's like the taps turned on, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is easy.
that's
Why
right.
didn't I do that? No, you were a
It's
different
drinking
version
from a
then.
water
Be
hose.
kind.
It's drinking from a water hose too, it's
Yeah,
like trying
yeah,
to take it all in. But that's exactly what happened to me. It was when 2020 happened and I decided to move forward, there in front of me was someone that I had worked with that had a branding studio, and she was
Amazing.
very gracious and worked with me and got me started. A number of former colleagues and bosses, stepped up and helped me kind of define who I
Yeah,
was at that time. All of that was set up for me to move forward. And
yeah,
then I had to go through the adaptation from being in a traditional, basically time for money to value creation.
yeah, yeah,
And here I am today
yeah.
with I mean, actually, sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm really amazed
Amazing.
at what I had acquired in working in those environments, but what I have been blessed to acquire in
Mm.
understanding and capability now that I can help other people.
Absolutely. And I think you said a really important point, that all of a sudden, because I would really value your take on this, because I think there's this element of like force and it's going to be this and all these storylines. And don't be wrong, you need to be putting into your all those seeds into that soil to blossom, okay? But then you said it's almost like this angel came and this angel came and this person came and this person came, and it's like that to me, they're really, we might not always see it at the time, like, because I love what you said about when you now see, you stand up aside and look in, which is ironic because we need to go in but then we need to look out. um it kind of was like this person came, oh perfect, oh then this came and then this came, and I think this is a really clear sign when, and it's not always straight away, sometimes we have to do that and then it comes. But that's almost like sometimes you're at the give up, or you've done it for so long and then it's like keep going, it's like a keep going. And I
Yeah.
think I really appreciate you sharing that, because yeah, people will come and people will support you and people will tell you things or show you things, or we just have to open our minds and our eyes to all around us, all the blessings. So
And that is absolutely. Um, of course, you read about it, you hear people talk
mm.
about it, but that really has been my experience. And it's also interesting how it matches where you are. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes you cannot see it until you're beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
but when you stop and you turn around and you look back at the path and you see all these places where Oh, I'm so glad that that happened then because I would
Mm,
not have been able to receive it. I mean, being in a state of receivership is so important. Being in a state of the, as you say, open-mindedness, just um, being honest with yourself and realizing that there really are going to be spaces in
yeah,
your capability and understanding and all those things that you need to be successful that have to be built along the way.
yeah,
And being
absolutely.
able to accept being, yes, critical, demanding of yourself excellence. You notice I didn't say perfection,
Yeah.
but demanding of yourself excellence so that when it comes, you say, okay, I see it. I can do better.
Mm,
This is what I get to do, not have
yeah.
to do. I get to do
Yes,
in
yes.
order to change this going forward. And then saying, what do I learn? And so I adopted something based upon Nelson Mandela. And I tell myself now, I can't fail.
Mm,
I either win, learn, or transform.
yes, yes. I love that.
And so that's become kind of a fundamental mantra that I live under today. Um,
Mm,
and that has fueled I think my ability to let people and resources appear in my life.
yeah, amazing. Amazing. I love that. And just speaking to you right now, it shows how you have built what you have built and how you are empowering and how you are in the perfect positioning because one, you've been there, you got the t-shirt, whatever you want to call it. Two, you are living proof and speaking proof of it. That's something like we can read the books, we can listen to the quotes, we can whatever, but we have to embody it. And it's like, that's why you're achieving what you've achieved because you are the embodiment of what you are selling, you're creating, whatever we want to call it. And
Sure.
that's why sometimes we don't see the value of ourselves to start with because it's just us. It's the version of us we've become. And so like even say with this, I'm like, but I'm just having these incredible conversations, speaking to people. Some people can't do what you're doing, what I'm doing, what like we need to zoom out and see like ourselves in the eyes of others. And if there is an abundance of guests or an abundance of people and clients contacting you, you're doing something right. There's a demand for what you're offering. So see that the effect and the impact of what is happening in your life rather than us as the common denominator of it and like, but I just speak to people, that's what I do. No, see it external to you. And that's what I love about what you've shared. That's why you're creating this empire that you're creating. Because I actually changed that word last minute, bear in mind not even knowing you, but I just felt like the original thing I wrote, I don't know why, but I was like, no, I feel like I need to put empire in there,
Mm.
you know? Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's an accident
You
because
see?
yeah, that wasn't an accident. And this is not woo. I do believe. Well, first of all, let's go to some basic quantum physics. Okay, so now you
I
see the
love
computer
this.
brain that I
Quantum
have.
physics is
This
literally the
computer
story of my
brain.
life right now. Feed away. Let's
Okay.
go.
So this computer brain that I have that's always looking at relationships and how things work together. And so one day I was sitting there and, anytime as for most of us as an entrepreneur just starting, we go through these periods of what I call feast and famine cash flow. And, this is where I started, stopping the feast of famine cash flow and getting to predictable profits. That's the space I work in. And so as we build, all of our strategies, our pricing strategies and all of this, we have these ups and downs. The idea is to get where it's more. You really now have things percolating, and you have you do what a profit first. You can pay yourself, and you're funding all of your improvements. That's a sweet spot. But one day I was just like really agonizing. I'm just gonna be transparent because this is to help people. I was really agonizing over cash flow. And something came to me based in science, the conservation of energy and matter. That's basic science. Okay, it's neither created or destroyed, but transformed into another form or change into another form, right? So I got to rolling around and I said, okay, now, if money is energy, okay, because it's currency, that's a nice word. So I read that somewhere. That's not my own creation. So I said, if money is currency, if money is currency and that's energetic, what does it say about energy? It's neither created nor destroyed. Quantum physics says that past, present, and future exist all at the same thing, all at the same time. And that fundamentally, that thought is energy. When you think about it, things start to coalesce into something that looks solid, but it's all energy. Okay.
Yeah.
So now these are the pieces I'm putting together. And then somehow I just came up with this thing. I said, well, if money is energy, everything and all that I desire, not want, but desire, is already there. It simply needs to change from its existing state into this new energetic state of money or cash for my services. Now, one morning I wake up and I have in my mind that I am a multimillionaire. Now, where that came from, I don't know. It started out being, I had a financial goal for a month and I would do it, say it at night and in the morning. But this particular morning, just recently, the last 2 weeks, I wake up with, I am a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
That goes with empire.
And it comes to you for a reason.
That's right. And it comes, and you're talking about an empire. To be honest, I never thought about it being an empire.
Because you're playing, and when I say this in the highest regard and respect. We receive and we're still playing too small for your capacity. And I really love what you mentioned, because we have these thoughts, ideas planted in us for a reason. Not everyone has that idea, or someone might have it and then it's, There's a reason why we receive what we receive, because there's something, as you said, inside of us that knows we are at some point operating at that capacity, whatever we want to say. But if we've lost people, it's okay. The people that will understand will carry on. But I had a really profound insight recently when I was looking into quantum physics, and it was because I was thinking, it was saying about words and affirmations and things. So even with you, what you're saying, but more than what you said, I felt your heart and your energy of, why has that come to me? And it basically said, when we think about energy and science, because it's science, we can all be woo-woo, but it's science. And basically it was saying it's because it doesn't function in words. It's the emotion attached to the words. So if you say something and you're contracting, you're going to get a contracting emotion. And that's kind of, I was trying to say it in a very loose way earlier of, for example, becoming a coach or something, and there is, it's not saying you offer your services for free. If you generally are at a point where you feel your value and worth, and somehow you are in alignment with what you're offering, and energetically it feels right to take money from someone for what you're providing, it will come in abundance, because it's the feeling you're putting out, the frequency and the emotion. But if you are contracting and being like, I'll do a landing page. So on the next page, then they have to pay, and then maybe they've done all the effort to get to that point, so then they'll pay me. And you're kind of still a little like this. People are gonna feel that, and it's like you might receive it, but then you're like, oh about it. Whereas it's the emotion and the energy. So I just check in with myself, and it's like, oh, okay, I see. And it's more than the words. It's like, okay, how can I like go through this now and really make that feel good in my body? Like, I'm worthy of this. I deserve this. Oh, now it feels like a miracle just came, but I still have a little contraction because I'm like, that was easy. And I appreciate all that you're saying. It's like the first time, when you say you pick up a book or something, or you listen to something. I remember someone telling me this years and years ago, and I was like, what? No idea, no understanding. And then just something just clicks, And I think this is why it's important we have these conversations. We listen to multiple people, we read different books, or reread the same book that you read 4 years ago, and then it's like, oh, I understand it now. Because sometimes it's just the seed gets planted and then it evolves. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You're amazing. I'm loving this conversation.
Oh, I'm just, I mean, now I'm just, I want to be sure to drop a few things from a business perspective that people can
Absolutely.
take away. But I actually believe this is fundamental to success.
Mm,
Yes, it may sound a little woo-woo, but so much comes out of our
mm-hmm.
brains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you can see it with a little experiment how you can, I've done this experiment with people where I have them attach a O-ring to a string
Mm.
and put their, set with their elbow on the table and tell them, I want you to use your mind to move that
Wow.
O-ring in a circle. And people will look at it and then it will start to circle. And it's like magic. But
Wow.
the reality is that even, how we process information in the body is through electrochemical circuitry.
Well, what immediately came to mind is where energy goes.
That's right.
No,
And
was
it
it? No, where attention
runs.
goes, energy flows.
That's right. So energetically, it flows to that point,
Yeah,
and it's micro movements, twitches in your muscles
yeah.
that respond. So if you can have that kind of impact at that level,
Mm,
just imagine
yeah,
if you have a huge amount of energy pushing out, emotions pushing out
yeah,
behind those thoughts. Um, and it just kind of is like it
yeah,
goes out and comes back in, right?
yeah.
And so, having that kind of awareness of the power that we walk in is so important. And then I believe when you base that in a heart of the greater good, it makes it even more powerful.
Absolutely.
And so likewise, you were talking about doing things for free. Many times we start out giving away our services because we lack confidence in the
Yeah.
value we create, or we haven't quite figured out what is the value we create.
Yes, yes.
But the other thing is that so much of society is taught it is better to give than to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really want to be good people. And so we say it's okay. And what I had to resolve in that space is it's important for me to give. That's part of who I am.
Yeah.
And I started to build that into my business plan where I would systematically set aside or think about in what way am I going to give out of the success of my business. So it's
Amazing.
intentional rather than haphazard. It's
Mm.
nothing wrong with being intentional and being structured about what you do in every aspect of the business, including that, or including with what you take away from the business and you want to distribute out of your own personal wealth.
I think that's very wise words because going back to what you said, I think especially at the beginning and usually when we are starting our own business and usually it's based on say our passions or our interests or
Hmm.
something we've maybe done most of our life without being paid,
Hmm.
it's actually the line, if you want to call it the whatever, is very blurry because like what you said, you don't always know say what someone else is charging or whatever, and it's like, so I understand what you're saying in the sense of actually having a structure and really looking at it from a business perspective. You're not then going to say oversell yourself or something like I don't know why this example come to mind, but my friend recently was training to be, I don't know, a trainer, and they said they had to do 40 hours, okay? So she was doing 3 hours for free per person. I said, but you could have done 30 minutes. And then after that 30 minutes, that person then pays. You only give each person a 30 minutes. It doesn't mean you have to give that person the full 40 minutes at 40 hours. And she's like, I didn't. And it's sometimes having these conversations and thinking of it differently. It's actually, she's going to do the same, but she's going to do it in a very different way. And she's still giving.
Right.
So I don't know why I felt like that was maybe important to share.
Well, it's spot on because I mean that's where it starts. Just about everyone gives a complimentary conversation, right?
Yeah.
And when I first started doing them, I was doing coffee chats, and to be, coffee chats is a coffee chat. It doesn't necessarily mean it's aligned with generating revenues.
Yeah.
All
We have
right.
to go back and question, okay.
Everything can't be all about money, but
No.
contrary to popular belief, we are saying we're in business,
Yes.
which has a concept of exchange for value,
Absolutely.
ideally, right? So most of us start with the complimentary, and I was doing coffee chats, which was very nice, but not necessarily going
Yeah.
moving forward, not advancing towards anything, but
Mm.
in a direction that was beneficial.
Yeah.
And many times not beneficial to both parties because you're just chatting about whatever, and doesn't necessarily mean it's helping solve some of the issues they have. So
Yeah.
I was able to pivot a bit with those complimentary meetings where spending time before the conversation to research, to understand more about the person I was going to talk to
Yeah.
and consciously look for ways to give them value in that
Amazing.
conversation that they can go back and immediately, if they choose, and if they say yes, I want it, because I ask, is it okay? Can I share?
Yes.
And if they receive it, then they get something that they can walk away with and apply in their business right away. So they get
Yeah.
value. And the conversation now has shifted. It's not about selling, it's about creating massive value for the
Absolutely.
person in front of me.
And that's what I heard in what you said. Straight away I heard, well, you provided a service through intentionally setting a seed or something. And okay, yeah, you are kind of showing your ability and your talents and what you offer, but you're not kind of, if you want this, then you have to you gave a little so someone can apply and be like, whoa, I want to speak to this lady again. And that's smart. That's really, really smart.
And it's their choice.
Yes. And
And
that's true, isn't it? True giving. Like if you're giving in like, all right, I'm gonna give, but I want this in return. Yeah.
And I've encountered people, I've had people says, "Why are you helping me?" I said,
Wow,
"Why?" I said, "Why does there have to be a why?"
beautiful.
Um, when people support me, my natural idea is reciprocity. Reciprocity.
Yeah,
In what ways can I support, or do I support their mission?
yeah,
And I don't see it as this for that. I mean, because sometimes people give so much, it is no way you can match point by point what they're pouring into your life.
no,
But there are other ways that we are gifted that we can pour into their lives. And sometimes it is really a strong believing. I mean, shooting out that vision of their success
yeah,
and well-being may be the best way to do it. I actually talked to someone where the guy had everything. I mean, and he was, he was helping me. And I said, "How can I support your mission?" He said, "Oh, I refer people." And I said, "Okay, I can do that." But just as we wrapped up the call, and I said, "Oh, I just really want to thank you so much for your time." And here again, once again, I find myself really in prayer. I mean,
mm,
I was praying spontaneously for this man's
that's
well-being,
beautiful.
and I had no idea where it was coming from.
Mm.
And when we finished, he just looked at me. He said, "Oh, I needed that so much."
That's see that to me is when, like, yeah, we have, okay, the structure, the agenda and things like that, but when we just actually allow the unfolding, that's the true heart-centered leadership, the true empowerment, the true, like, building and supporting, and not seeing me and them, us and that, or whatever. It's that coming together, whether it's collaborating or whatever, just person to person, and I think that's so beautiful what you've just shared. Thank you so much for that. And sometimes that's what people just need, because we go on, we're constantly talking business or something, we're at these networking events, we're at this, you get however many business cards, however many this, but sometimes someone just needs, okay, there is the structure to it as well, but just someone to see them, and
Right.
yeah, right, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
And I will position this because I think it's important that there is freedom. This is not how shall I say? It is not my essentializing or saying it has to be this way. It has to come from this space of believing. It is a way of being.
Yeah,
And whoever hears this, or whomever they are, or whoever they are becoming, that it is from their authentic center,
yeah,
not from mine, because I have my history, my beliefs, and my experiences, but come from that place of authenticity. I think the essential part of the equation is the receptivity,
mm,
being receptive, being open, and not being attached to a particular way that it comes, or
yeah,
like someone else. This is what is so
absolutely.
essential in a business. When you start doing business, you get your own voice for having your selling conversations, for your marketing, for your
Mm,
branding.
mm.
That really is coming from your authentic center. And if you're working with a consultant or a mentor, and they're essentially requiring you to replicate what they did and who they are, that's not serving you.
No, Yeah, I hear you, and I fully understand you with that. And even that simple thing, like in the example that you shared, that like there was no way that you're saying that, oh, so maybe do that with someone. No, that was something you felt in that moment that that man needed. And I remember speaking to someone else who put once with love at the end of something, and someone's like, this is not a professional way you end an email, but in her mind, in her heart, in her business, she felt that's the way she wants to show up. And it took like, I can't remember how many months or years it was, and he came back and said, you know, I used to always feel something in my heart every time I received your email. But that doesn't mean now, we start like changing everything. It has to be something you fully believe in your being, like what you said, that truly represents you, and you stand in your core and your belief of what you have sent out, not because, oh, they do that, so I'll do that. No, you have to fully believe in what you're sending out to people. Energy, thoughts, words, strategies, whatever it is, you've got to be the one that goes back to you first, and then people will feel that, that
Mhm,
authenticity.
mhm,
Absolutely. Really
mhm,
powerful. Thank you.
mhm. So as we kind of near the end of our conversation, and I was thinking, okay, so what could I share with your audience about being in business? Hmm. And when I started working with someone, they'll come with a business issue. They have a cash flow issue or a profitability issue, or their team is not working well together. So yeah, it's a hard thing that has a bottom line impact. And every conversation, every relationship starts with a deep dive into what their experience, what's their pain points, what have they already
Mm.
done, where do they want to arrive to, who needs to be engaged in the decision, etc. Okay, all of that goes together. But I actually start with with the person themselves, whoever's in front of me and that decision maker. And it can be very frustrating for them because they say, well, I've already thought about this, so why are you asking me about that? But many times getting the right things done is what makes the difference in being successful in the business.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to drop today, some
Amazing.
principles or a principle around getting the right things done.
Yeah.
And so here are the three things. It's important to structure your time to work on your business.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us just starting are going to be solo entrepreneurs. It's just us. So we're wearing all kinds of hats. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Do not despise small beginnings. But try this. Think about how much time you're going to dedicate per day on working on your business.
Mm.
And that is your personal decision that you have decided is mission critical for you to be successful.
Yeah.
So, whether it is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or your days to work on your business for 4 hours, or Tuesday and Thursday, or whenever, commit first of all to that block of time.
Mm. Yeah.
Now, now you have to decide what goes into that time. Think about how it is you will generate your revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. So some people are do leadership development and their revenue is generated by conducting leadership development programs, and they are facilitating those sessions. That might be one way. Someone may be doing exclusively one-to-one consulting. or they may be doing group coaching. There might be a number of ways that someone is saying, my model for generating revenue is X. So you want to be clear on how is it do you generate revenue for your business? Set that aside. Okay. The other thing, and at the very top of the heap, is what really are my values? Okay.
Yeah.
Write that down. For some people, the values are going to be freedom, family, something else. 3 to 5 max. Ideally, just 3. Set that aside. And then, in terms of energy, alertness, drive.
Yeah.
What's my cycle? Is it in the morning that I'm very energized or energetic and I'm really sharp, or is it evening? Understanding that, set that aside. Now you have 3 categories of information that will help you to decide what to do with that block of time that you've established to work on your business.
Yes.
To work on your business. And then you think, now I have these money-making activities, right? What does it take for me to achieve this revenue stream? So that may mean you're going to do networking in person, virtual. You may decide, I want to do a special type of networking. There's all kinds of networking groups, some high-end, some 30-minute. Okay, just determine what would that look like. Conversations and direct messaging, because to actually have someone buy your product or service, you have to talk about it, right?
And they're kind of buying you as well,
You're right. Work,
Yeah.
webinars, generating traffic, those are the kinds of things that fall into that revenue generating idea, with the idea of people are moving forward to building a relationship so that you can provide value in return for a fair price.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you want to show up on that schedule in line with your values.
Yeah.
So if you have a big family value, and whenever someone in the family is going to call you and you are going to respond to that, that's okay. That's your value. You schedule that into every day so that your values lead, that it's when your energy levels are at the right level to do those important revenue generating, value feeding things. And it is those revenue generating activities.
Wise words. Yeah, very wise.
So getting things done is not just a to-do list. It's using those 3 elements: values, energy, and revenue generating activities.
Yeah.
Okay. It is an allocated amount of time that you're committed to do at a certain period during those 7 days that you consistently show up for.
Yeah. I think the beauty of what you said as well, just before we conclude, is because we go usually from that 9 to, well, it's not even 9 to 5 anymore, is it? But just say 9 to 5, and this is your break and this is your lunch. We kind of almost think in that way still, whereas the beauty of it, which I just love that you use family as an example, is if you know that random call, not random, but that call's going to come, or that, your loved one is going to pop up, just be kind to yourself in that moment, be fully present in that moment, and just know you are in charge of your timetable. You can make that time up. No one's saying now, oh, but I said I'd work till 3. Well, this popped up, this is important to me. Okay, today's going to be a little longer, or I make it up tomorrow. We have the freedom to work it, like what you said. You might not be productive in the morning. You might need to go for a walk first. You might need to go and do some exercise.
Right.
And I think that's for me, the trickiest thing that I found is we think that we have to program ourselves and perform it the way we've done all our lives because that's all we've ever known. No, this is the beauty of having your own business. You have the freedom. So just taking that time for you, sitting down and actually thinking, right now in my life, do I want to go to that place in the morning and I want to have some time to myself, reflect, then start my work? Or do I want to start my work and do it afterwards? We have the beauty. We have the beauty to do that. So I hope that's what I heard through your beautiful message anyway. Not just message, your incredible insights, which I will definitely be taking a note of in my own life, because especially creativity, I enjoy all this, but is that generally a benefit in my business? Like, still enjoy what you're doing, but if that's a part of the revenue generating time, maybe put that aside. If you want to do that later, that's your choice, but right now, yalla.
Yeah, sometimes it's like like one time a young man said, he said, I just couldn't get my head around it. And so I just went for a walk. And he said, I really messed up. And I said, perhaps that was what was important for you to do so that you could be more efficient. And when you know what success looks like, and that's the other part, not just saying I'm going to do this, but what does it mean that I've successfully done it? And
Yeah,
you know what success looks like when you take that action. That's what you are evaluating, the return of,
amazing.
right?
Yeah. Wow, it is honestly been such a blessing having you on, and I know there's so much more that you could share, but I want to be really respectful of your time, and I know that sometimes actually leaving a little for people to now reach out and really connect with you is the best thing anyway, because like what you said, we should absolutely give and receive, but sometimes you have to have almost those boundaries of, okay, you have to put
Right.
in a little effort to get it back as well. So I appreciate you so much.
Sure.
One final thing just before you go, that I always love my guests to do just before they go, is just off the top of your head, if there was something that somebody listening right now would just really benefit from hearing, doesn't have to be business related, whatever, what would you tell them?
Trust yourself and trust the process.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Fran, it's been amazing. Thank you so, so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're so welcome.